Oh, hello, boy.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
What are you sipping on there?
Tea, boy. It's tea time. It's evening.
Are you much of a drinker? Oh, I know you were. I saw you drink some beers on the AZT. So
I don't say no to a good beer, you know?
yeah, but it's nighttime over there right now, eh?
Nah, it's evening. It's like 7 in the afternoon. So it's there's some hours before I'm gonna go to bed, so we have time to chat.
What time is your bedtime? When do you normally go to bed?
Like yeah, many people assume or thought that I don't like to sleep, because I wouldn't sleep much during the races. But actually, this is what I learned pretty fast, with my busy life. When I started to cut on sleep, like the immune system would go sideways, like I would get sick and all this shit. So that's the thing that really forced me to cut on everything else but not sleep. Like I try to get everything else but to keep the sleeping hours as little, like to touch on, like, yeah, cut from them as little as possible. So my bedtime starts at 10 usually. So
Is that good?
I like to get into bed quite early. It doesn't mean that I'm gonna fall asleep straight away. Sometimes I do, but the other times I would, yeah, I read the book, open a few pages, because that's my like sleeping medicine. Like I can read one book for 2 years. Like it's gonna be a page per night. Like
Oh, that's so funny.
oh man, I sometimes need to reread the pages because I wouldn't remember what did I read.
Yeah, I do that all the time. How much do you
Yeah.
normally try to sleep per night?
So I shoot for 8 hours.
Yeah. Do you
Yes,
try to bank up more sleep leading up to like an ultra race?
I don't get it. Like it's I'm yeah, I've built this routine, and so I not so often that I pass 8 hours. Like like when after ultras, yeah, the longest I've slept is probably like about, yeah, 10 hours that I got in one go. Usually I would wake up, yeah, feel fine, like would start doing something, and then maybe I would need a nap. But usually it's like, yeah, I tend not to leave my routine during the weekends either. So like I have these hours that my body kind of gets used to. I'm going to bed about like 10, half past 10, and getting up at like, yeah, 6:37.
So you're not much
Duh.
fun at a Friday night party?
It's been a while.
That's all right, man. You got a lot going on. You've been a busy boy this year, and so yeah, not a lot of time for house parties, I would think.
Uh, I mean, yeah, this is the time kind of the year to do that,
Yeah,
because now it's the off season.
yeah.
But if I would look at my training calendar and hours per month, so July is my off season. So it's because of the bright midnight and stuff. It doesn't feel like an off season at all, but like riding time is the lowest in July.
Mm,
But that's also a party time, because riders finish, they celebrate their finishes, and
yeah.
then I feel the need to celebrate together with them. So it's usually beer there or there, and then you feel like you. So I didn't go in my top shape to Colorado this year.
Yeah, it's tough. I just did Central Texas Showdown, one of my races here in Texas, and yeah, you kind of wind up drinking like all weekend because everybody's celebrating, everyone's finishing and celebrating, and it's a
Exactly.
party, and so yeah, you kind of get sucked into celebrating with everybody.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
always say like the race directing is like its own endurance sport. It's a different kind of endurance sport.
It's way harder than doing a race. I hope you can admit that.
I'm happy to hear you say that. I'm very interested to get, somebody else's perspective that is more of a racer than I have. I've dabbled in a little bit here and there, but
Mm,
it's very challenging for me. I find, running the races to be woefully more difficult than, doing anything I've ever done in bike packing. Like it's just stressful and sleepless and it's stressful. It's like you have hundreds of
dude,
people that are relying on you and you want them to
exactly.
all have a good time. You want them to be safe. You want them to have fun, and you just carry that stress and anxiety kind of the whole weekend. At least I do.
Yeah, as I told many times, like you don't sleep before, you don't sleep during, and you don't sleep after because before you, I mean, at least I am a bit last minute person, so I would still have lots of things to do before the race starts. When the race starts, yeah, again, you're a race director, so you're following the race, blah, blah. Then they start to finish and they don't finish like together. So it's
Right.
like very, at least in Bright Minute, the fast boys use guys, they use like just 2 days, 2.5, and the middle pack uses about 4, and the party pacers is about 6.5. So it's like, and you have everything in between. So it's suddenly like there's like 6.5 days of like minimum sleeping. Like you just try, and yeah, you wake up and you're like in this nightmare and shit, I missed the dot, like fuck. We have finished. And then you would, oh my God. It's
How many did you miss this year? Miss at the finish line?
F you.
Yeah, it's hard. I
But they,
missed. I think I missed three at Central Texas, three or four. It's hard
uh,
to get them all.
oh my God, it's like I'm taking my hat off to a race director that welcomes every single rider. I mean, there are races with not so many riders, but
Yeah,
but those who have like at least 100 plus and greet every single one. Oh my God, that's
yeah. I do have one advantage over you. My event lasts 4 days, so it's like a probably about a 48 hour period of little to no sleep.
mhm.
And but yours, you said the it ranges from anywhere from 2 days to 6 days. So
Mm.
you're having 4 days of those sleepless nights, and I don't know what you
And
did, but I slept at the start finish line, and I had a
yeah,
timer based on the tracker, and then I kind of yeah. I mean, it's crazy because there's people coming in like every 30 minutes or every hour, and so you're not really sleeping, for like 30
mm,
minutes. You're checking the tracker. And then
exactly.
every once in a while you miss one, because the tracker will be off, right? Like it won't be exactly
Yeah, yeah,
accurate. So it's just a best guess.
yeah.
So
And someone has more gas left in their legs at the end, and they just suddenly make a huge push, and whatever
right,
the tracker said, it doesn't match at all.
right.
Uh, no, no, no. And at least I'm following the head of the race usually with a photographer or filmmakers. And that means as well, the fast guys, if they don't sleep, you don't sleep. So I'm basically starting my marathon with the first rider leaving, well, like with the riders leaving the toga. So it's already then my yeah, ultra different sort of ultra starts, driving ultra.
I'd be curious to get your perspective. I mean, you said it's way more difficult to be a race director than it is to be a racer, and you are the most accomplished bike pack racer in our sport right now. What is it about being a race director that you find to be so challenging?
Like there are different race directors and they care differently about the event that they do and the riders that they are sending to, or where are they sending the riders to. So I think that the total package, that's wearing you, and like I try to be like available all these days,
Yeah.
and I'm like I like to introduce myself as a social introvert. So I can be very social and talk to people when I kind of have to, or like when the situation asks to do that. But then I can get on my bike and ride for 13 days without listening to music or like just being with myself. And I need this just to recharge, to be able to be social again.
Hmm.
And when you have like 100, yeah, 50 riders coming and you feel responsible to meet and greet everyone. So that costs me some energy as well, like to be this social, person going and greeting and this excitement. You're excited, they are excited. So but the emotions, they put a stress on you. So you kind of get tired of this at some point, and you need this. And then you're not sleeping enough. You're eating this and there and then. So uh, yeah, it's a marathon. Like, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
proper to run an ultra. I think it's run an ultra race. Like it's or organize an ultra race is a marathon. And things happen on the way, So there are some good emotions. Then there are some setbacks that something unexpected happens. Then you have to solve this. You have all these things going through your head and usually, yeah, that's you who knows how things should be done, or you have this idea, and you try to get the idea that others would know, and they could help you in situation where the decision has to be made. But it's not always the case, and sometimes you still would be called and asked like how to do this and to do that, and you have these hundred of things going on, and then there is. Yeah, so at least yeah, in my so there's media team that you kind of need to also there is all these posts and stuff that has to go out and I mean there's so much going on. There's so
Yeah.
like people see so little and they kind of think that to be a race director it's a good job. Like it's a easy. No way.
No.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. I wish them all to do an ultra race, organize an ultra race and to see how actually it is.
Yeah, and especially if you're the type of race director that it sounds like you and I are, who are like very involved. And I mean, there's other ones like Tour Divide, it's just like, all right, show up here, finish here. Probably not going to be anyone when you finish, not going to be any support or any information along the way. I mean, it's just, go out there and do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you and I were managing media teams and, all the people. And it's just a more maybe intimate type of race. And what you said about being a social introvert really stands out to me, and I relate to that heavily. And I mentioned this on the podcast before. I don't think anyone believe it, but I'm quite introverted, and I can play the extroverted role well, and but
Yeah.
it's very draining. That part,
Mhm.
the social dynamic is just so draining on me, and I'm grateful and happy to be in that position. Like I'm not saying it is a bad thing, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I've chosen this for myself. No one's
Mhm.
making me do this, but
Mhm.
it doesn't change the fact that it's a huge drain on me mentally,
Mhm.
emotionally. It takes a lot. And I'm like you, I recharge my batteries in solitude when,
Yeah.
I'm alone, So I
Mhm.
relate to, and I think people would be surprised to hear that about you. I'm surprised because I guess we both play the role of like being a social animal pretty well.
Yeah.
And I like it. I like being a social person, but it also at the same time drains me, and I have to find other ways to
Yeah.
recharge my batteries.
Exactly. It has a cost. I mean, I enjoy, like as you said, like if I wouldn't like it, I wouldn't do it. Like, it's as simple as that. But I like it. It just costs me energy. And
Yeah.
since I know this, so I also know that, okay, at some point I need this time on my own. And yeah, time on my own is usually on a bike. So that's where I kind of get to recharge.
Well, you've had plenty of that this year. Plenty of time to recharge.
There's been some hours on the bike, I can tell you that.
Yeah, man. Well, cheers, Justinas. I'm drinking coffee. Cheers.
Yeah, me having a tea.
It's 12
But
o'clock here, I guess 12:15 now. But welcome back to the podcast, Justinas. Or do you go by
I
King Justinas now? What's the
mean,
proper way to refer to you?
it's the fastest known time for a reappearance in the podcast. No,
Not that fast, man. I am.
no,
I
no,
have
I
to
know.
apologize to you and my audience for
Yeah,
taking so long to get you on the podcast after your win this year. But that's totally on me. Like I did CTS, and then right after CTS, my car broke down. I was out of town. My car broke down. I got stranded out of town for a week, and like everything's kind of gotten pushed back. But um, yeah, welcome
no
back, man.
problem. Man. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to talk to you as always.
Oh man, it's always a pleasure. I'm honored to have you on the podcast, man. This is I mean, I'm literally talking to a living legend. I mean, your name will forever be
Come
you
on.
laugh, but it's true, man. It's so true.
Yeah,
Like you are your name will go down in the record books. Like what you did this year is absolutely undeniable. It's incredible. I mean, they're just, I don't have the words to even say. I mean, it's just so mind blowing what you did this year. So I'm absolutely tickled that I get to even chat with you. And yeah, it's cool. I can't believe that we're friends. Like, it doesn't even make sense.
no, dude, it's just like it's yeah, you've been there from the beginning, right? You've been there when I did my first tour divide and when where I kind of failed massively. Well, like not failed, not that I failed, but my equipment and my preparation failed on me.
Yeah.
And no, so yeah, it's been a wild trip, that's for sure. But and I'm yeah. Actually, just by yeah, walking in these podcasts, telling all these stories and stuff, it it kind of makes me okay, okay, yeah, to be because the total time is like 25 days of racing, right? So it's just like it's quite a few days on the bike, and so that everything would go right in those races, and you first of all would be able to finish them. I mean. I know it for sure from Colorado how it can go. Like how unexpected things can happen and shit can hit us, they hit the fan. Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky and I'm very glad that everything went just as it did.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff has to come together. A lot of things can go wrong, as you saw with your first Tour Divide with your mechanicals that set you back, and even your mechanical at CTR this year. Like nothing, no matter how strong you are, how fast you are, nothing is promised. You know, there are no
No.
guarantees that if you're going to try to take this on, that it's going to go the way you want it to. And it didn't go exactly the way you wanted it to. I mean, you can't plan
Mhm.
for everything. And as you say, planning is for weak people. So who needs a plan?
Yeah, but because the plans change. Why the fuck you would want to waste the time planning if you're gonna change it? Then how many plans you have to make? You have to make a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then you get your hopes and dreams hung up on a plan and then it doesn't happen and then you get disappointed that it didn't go your way,
Mhm.
so that expectation versus reality can be like a mind fuck. So there's a lot
Mhm.
going on there for sure.
Oh man, no, no. I take things as they come.
Yeah.
I wish I would have planned more for Zone actually.
Oh yeah.
But when I was hiking through the canyon, I was like, ah, this ditch is massive. This ditch is huge. It's like it's
uh
called Grand Canyon, not without a reason.
yeah, yeah, there's a reason. It lives up to the hype and the name for sure.
Mhm.
Well, let's recap your year, just for anyone who doesn't know, and also make sure that I got it right. So let's
Yeah,
just go
right.
through your year. Outside of the
Okay.
Triple Crown, you started your year with Atlas Mountain Race. You won that one. No?
I started the year with Fat Viking. That's a fat bike mountain, like a fat bike ultra here in Norway.
Oh my gosh, I'm
I
already
mean,
off.
yeah, but that was in January, like end of the January. That's an actually a qualification race for Iditarod. So, and just to get things forward, like yeah, jumping a bit. So yeah, that I would love to do that next year, but I'll see how it's gonna go.
Yeah. Okay.
But
So you
so Fat
started your
Bike,
race with that one. Did you win that one?
I did win that one.
Okay. And then Atlas, and you won that one.
And then Atlas.
And then Tour Divide?
No, man, there was quite a lot in between.
Dude,
I did so this year I did 10 races plus organized the Bright Midnight.
unfucking believable, man. Do we even have
Yeah,
enough time to go through all of the races that you did? Can you spit them out? Do you know what they are all offhand?
yeah, I can try, but like right. So let's start. So yeah, Fat Viking in January, Atlas in February. Do you want me to say the placing? No, 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 that's
Yeah.
not.
Yes.
No, no, no.
Yes.
But no,
Yes.
no, no.
I'm asking you to.
Yeah, I was so Fat Viking. I won that, and Atlas. I won that. Then I went in March. I went to do the. That must have been the Spider Human. It's like 1,300 kilometers from Paris to Nantes in France. That's kind of more road orientated. One that. Then I went to do the Desertus Bicus. That was in April. That's also from France to Portugal. But that there I failed massively because it's a free route race, and I have this strange love with the free route races. So I think I finished ninth, like in top 10, but I was there for training. Then I did across Italy. That was in May. That's like 700 or 800 kilometer race. But that was in this year. They had this. They were called European Unsupported Ultra Science European Championships. Nobody knew, nobody cared, and and just a very few people were there for that. So,
Okay.
but there I came. I was second there. Then I did Lausanne Gravel. It's like a Le Mans Gravel Challenge around Lake Genève. That was my last shakedown before Tour de White. It was in the middle of May. So it's nothing crazy long. It's kind of 1 day race. Most people were there on gravel bikes, and I did it on my Super Caliber and yeah, Tour de White setup. But I also got away there with the win. Then I went to Tour de White in June and I won it. Then
And set a new FKT.
and set into a KT. And then
So you
July
beat
there was
I do have this stat. So where is it? So you beat Mike Hall's 8-year standing record by about 20 hours at
mm,
this year's Tour Divide. So took down, a long-standing FKT by an absolute legend in the sport that has held the test of time. And I think notably about the Tour Divide is that it was a clean run. There was no reroutes.
mm,
It was a very clean and undisputed FKT, which is nice.
yeah. It's like that when I was riding in Arizona, right, and we got this reroute, I was just thinking how fucking lucky I got into the ride that there was nothing. It was like the actual route.
Mm,
Even in some would say that it got harder because of those added single tracks
right.
in New Mexico or the route changes that have been made. But yeah, so that was June to the wide record. Good June.
Good June. Yeah.
Then I went back and organized the Bright Midnight, so that was July. Then August, I went and did the Colorado Trail. Was first over the line, but didn't get the win.
Yeah.
And in September, I went and did Badlands, and then in October, I did Arizona.
Wait, what'd you get in Badlands?
Oh, that was like top 20. I 18th, I think, at the end. But like after 200 kilometers, I was in 89th position.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I exploded, my friend. Like that was the main reason I went to do Badlands. It's a race that I've done twice, and this year was third time. I mean, Uber has one more. He has done that. Like this year, I also like did a last minute change and came to do the race. but he did it four times now, so he only misses the very first edition.
Mm.
And otherwise, I think he's one of who have done it the most times. But it's a yeah. So I know the organizer a bit, and I know the the team. So it was just a joy to come back to meet them and see how they have evolved and yeah, become bigger, better, stronger. And and there actually, so I wanted to go to Badlands as it's in a desert, right? And where
Mm.
does the Arizona happen? It's in the desert. So I just
Yes.
wanted to see how actually when you're pushing or you're riding hard, how does the body, what does the body do? Like, cause I like October in Arizona is 100 Fahrenheit, and October in Norway it was snowing.
Right.
So, so I kind of needed this hard effort in the heat just to prepare my body and mind to what's to come. And and it might sound very stupid, but like I kind of pushed myself into the huge hole. Like there is a picture where I'm rolled in a mattress, sleeping kind of naked in the bathroom on the floor. Like I look like a human sushi, and my soul has left the body. When I entered that bar, I was so done. Like I did that whole like two like it's hundreds about like 100 yeah 40, 50 miles with like four gels because I got cooked and I just pushed and yeah, I was just going through one floor, then hitting another and going through that one and
Going
through
down
another
floors,
and
not up floors.
yeah, exactly. I was breaking all the floors uh, to which eventually I would hit the bottom. Yeah, so I was at my lowest probably I've ever been.
What was contributing
So
to that? Were you just not fully recovered, or did the desert environment really zap you? Do you have any idea?
that was about like 2 weeks after Colorado. So some would say that that's a perfect like because when we were talking in Iceland when I was sitting in the airport, I was telling you about that I'm gonna go to do Badlands. And there I was like, oh, it's gonna be interesting. I want to see how it's gonna go. There's gonna be like 2 weeks after altitude, and I'm hopefully gonna be like in my super shape. I'm gonna feel like a superhuman. Blah blah blah. Bullshit. I didn't. I didn't felt good at all. So it was a bit of a disaster as well. But then I got to try, my legs and to see how this altitude thing actually works on my body and not others. So I don't think that I got the benefits of the altitude, or maybe it's the pros when they train in the altitude, they train and then they train down low and they sleep in the altitude. So it's like and I slept and trained hard for like what it's like 4 days and 7 hours. So it's like about 100 hours spent in the in altitude and doing those long hard efforts. So I don't think, I mean, probably I needed way longer recovery time than I got. Uh, and heat also got me. So usually I eat everything, and I'm
Mm,
very happy eater, but there I just couldn't get anything.
mm,
And I'm not a big fan of sports gels and stuff, but there they had a sponsor, and the sponsor gave us like a starter like taster pack something in which were four gels. So that's kind of the only food that I managed to swallow all the way for these 140 miles in the desert. Like I mean, man, yeah, I've not been that low. And like, yeah, there was in a desert, I was in the shade trying to get my soul back. And Uber came from behind, like, as I was a bit ahead of him, he did very smart move. Very smart race. So he started slowly and didn't got involved in the first moves, and I was like, maybe it's gonna be good. It looks gonna be good. So I went a bit over the limit to begin with and paid the price. But yeah, in the desert, we made an agreement that if we're gonna reach the bar together, there's this bar like after you do the first loop in the desert, so that we're gonna continue as a pair. I didn't. I died 1,000 deaths like before reaching that bar. He has reached that bar and he was waiting for me, I think, for like 10 and 15 minutes, and I just wouldn't come because I was dead. Oh my God, that
Left
was
him
a
hanging.
disaster. Yeah, but then he continued, and yeah, I think he finished strong. I don't know the exact position,
Yeah.
but he was there. Yeah.
Did that experience give you any concern leading into AZT that you didn't perform in the desert as well as you probably would have liked to have?
It was a bit. I was a bit concerned, I must admit that. Yeah, because like and I was like maybe this fatigue, over the whole like 'cause, yeah, to start the season, the racing season in January and finish it in October, it's demanding and to keep the form, throughout because at the beginning of the year, so I didn't have Colorado or Arizona as a plan. So I was just okay. I need to be good. I was trying to be good or in shape for Atlas and then Tour Divide, and then I was like, I'll see how's that gonna go. And suddenly you have to push for a couple of more months, and to push physically is one thing, but to also push yourself mentally is another thing. So, and yeah, so with all these races, and hitting those bottoms and freezing your ass up in the mountains and then getting rained on and yeah, not sleeping much. And then when you have to do it again and again, you kind of start to feel more sorry for yourself and like, why do I do this? So this why was quite strong and loud in my head towards the end of Arizona. And especially, like I was, yeah, but I'm jumping to Arizona, but like, so yeah, in general, it was a bit of a concern. But also it was because when I hit that bottom and I went into that bar and then I slept for those couple of hours because I would wake up, like I would set an alarm every hour and would try to move. And when I was not cramping or stopped cramping while trying to get on the other side, or like then I started, and it took me 3 hours. Like I would need to wake up like a couple of times, drink, eat something, and then go to sleep again. Wake up, try to move, and if I would not cramp, because I was cramping in my fingers, in my hands, like places I would never think I could cramp. Like even my back muscles would cramp. Like not just legs, but like back, hands. It was horrible, but. But yeah, so it stopped eventually. Then I start riding, and I was just catching the riders. So I just played the Mario or Pac-Man from that night on. So I would just see red lights ahead of me, and I would try to catch them.
What?
And
Okay.
so sorry. So this thing gave me positive thinking about going to Arizona. So I just knew that I have to be careful in the heat, not to overdo in the first couple of days, let my body kind of to adapt as much. And that's why for the first time I could go to Arizona before, like not 2 or 3 days before the start, but thanks to Ru and Lel for hosting me, so I could go there a week before start and get some of that desert heat or start to get to used to it.
Yeah. That's really interesting. So you ultimately it probably helped inform your race strategy and your approach for AZT, and it put on your radar the awareness of how how challenging like the desert environment is and how
Mhm.
much it can like suck out of you. So in the end, probably a positive experience to have under your belt leading up to AZT, so you didn't find that out at AZT, right? You found out before AZT.
Yeah, because even like, so all the races I'm named to you, right? So quite a few of them were preparation races. So in preparation races, I don't care about the result of placing, but I care about the preparation I do for the leading race, for the race I'm training for. So in balance, the result was like, like as I said in one interview before the race, that I just wanted to have a good time on the bike, and sometimes the good time correlates with the result, sometimes not. And yeah, it might be good and might be shit. So it was shit, and that's just how it was. But that's partly why so when we started Arizona, Alexander Schultz went off, like he started. And maybe if I would have done, like, if I wouldn't had that down in Badlands, maybe I would have chased him and got myself into trouble. But then I just stayed kind of within myself, or I tried to not go too far into the red, so that I wouldn't dig myself a hole that I wouldn't be able to fill.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It helped, yeah, inform your race strategy right out at the gate. Well,
Mm.
I think we need to put a point on this that you mentioned it, but your Triple Crown time. So you did 10 total races this year, and you also completed the Triple Crown, setting a new fastest known time of 25 days, 5 hours, and 30 minutes. And you beat Jay Petervary's time that has stood for 9 years since 2015. You beat his time by 2 days, 13 hours, and 3 minutes. So, I mean, this year has been absolutely incredible. Like, you can't believe it either, can you?
No, it's crazy. When you
It's
say it out
crazy.
loud, it's just like stupid.
It is stupid. It's stupid. It's crazy. I mean, you beat in 1 year, you beat Mike Hall's Tour Divide record, and you beat the longstanding Jay Petervary Triple Crown record in 1 year. And I don't even have words for what that means. I can't even articulate it. And I'm wondering if you've had any chance to like process, what does this mean to you? How do you reflect on this wildly successful year that you've had?
As it, yeah, I told you, I'm just like, so for the first, I don't feel this as a like such a huge achievement, like I'm very happy that so many people are happy for me and about this, that makes me, maybe I'm a people pleaser, I don't know, but it's like, for me, it just the thing that starts to get into my mind is like how much how many things have to align, or like how many things have to go right in order to finish. Like, just Arizona have taught me also and shown me how many, like, that race is so relentless. It's just like it just goes forever. Like, things, you have to learn how to ride your bike and walk with your bike, and how to take things slowly. And when you think that things are going slow, wait a bit and they're gonna go even slower, because it's just like it's incredible. So just, yeah, the more I think that, like, the racing time is like 25 days. And when you think about, like, yeah, Tour de France, right? They do 21 stages, so it's like 21 days of racing. But in that day of racing, they do like 6 hours, right, of racing, and the rest is like, and we are talking about 25 days of racing, like,
Right.
where the, like, okay, I've slept into the wild, I slept maybe more than in Colorado or Arizona, but yeah, not many hours of that is in resting. The more time, most time is in riding, and riding, like, okay, Tour Divide is, so now I can compare all those three, right? And I could say that Tour Divide is probably the easiest. With all the respect, like, with all, like, it's just the length of Tour Divide that is
Right.
it's really hard. Like, where's you, and okay, I mean, it's not the easy, but like, It's difficult actually. Not that easy to compare those. I mean, because the more I think, the more I find out. But like, okay, so but to divide like in riding like technicality, okay, like technical riding. So to divide is the easiest. You're staying on the double tracks, gravel roads, like things are more or less predictable. When you start doing those trail races, Colorado Trail and Arizona Trail. So Colorado is like the altitude that is definitely the thing that is different. The trail wise, I mean, the riding is more or less that you kind of know what to expect. And then you get to Arizona and there you no idea what to expect. Like it just throws you thing after thing. And that the diversity of a state of the trail can be so huge in those 800 miles that it can change so much. And then on top of that is that massive ditch toward the end that you have to walk through. I mean, it's just like stupid.
Yeah, man, when you break it all down, it really, I think, typifies why the Triple Crown is so impressive and why it is the Triple Crown because not all three races are the same, right? They're so
Mm-mm.
different. The Tour Divide is going to
Mm.
test you over a long period of time. The Colorado Trail is going to be much shorter and higher elevation on trails. And you got AZT that's in the desert that's a little bit longer than Colorado Trail, but just a variety of terrain, totally different trails. So it's
Mm.
to be able to complete all three is showcasing just a vast, athletic ability, mental toughness. Like it's testing every angle of a human's
Oh,
endurance effort, right? And so that's why it's the
it,
Triple Crown.
it's for sure, man. Like it's for like I really like I must admit that I was thinking that or I've even said that to Nelson that okay, your race is right. You have the Atlas and you have the Hellenic and Silk Road. Maybe that should be the triple like this Nelson's, Triple Crown because
Yeah.
so maybe this should be kind of more of a like a triple crown. But they are too similar. Now when I've done those three and I've done Atlas and Kirgi and Silk Road, I haven't done the Hellenic yet. But but the Colorado and Arizona and Tour Divide, they are they're crazy. I mean they test you exactly just as you said. They ask so much like they ask so much from you. You have to be ready mentally, like yeah, like it's just like it's crazy.
I want to get an update from you on Colorado Trail Race. Anyone who doesn't know, there was an asterisk placed on your time, and we did a whole episode on Colorado Trail, so people can go back and listen to that entire saga. But really, I mean, it was an incredible race because you rode 100% of the race. You completed a side quest of fixing your bike, and then you came back and passed everybody and were the first to finish. I mean, no one can take away that it was just an incredible performance, regardless of the result. But the last time we talked, you didn't have a full clear picture on like what the end result was. I checked
Mm.
the Colorado Trails website. I still don't see the 2024 times listed yet.
I,
Unless are they there?
I think they were there. I think yeah. So I got the asterisk. I mean, I so yeah, I was first, but not the winner. But they did a kind of honorable mention of my time.
Yeah.
I, I'm
So,
not. Mhm.
oh, go ahead.
No. It's just that like I got listed. I
You
wasn't
got so yeah.
like.
You have a like you have a time. You have a finishing time. You weren't DNF'd or anything like that. But there's
Mm,
a asterisk that says, "Hey,
mm,
you completed a side quest in
mhm.
addition to completing the race." So I think the overall question that some people will have is how that asterisk on CTR impacts the Triple Crown. And I mean, we addressed this in the last episode. I mean, it's all ambiguous. Nobody knows who's running it. There's bikepacking.net that puts up some results and stuff. So just for anyone who has any questions, like how does that impact the Triple Crown, the official time for your Triple Crown, if at all?
I'm already there. If you would open, you would see I'm already listed as yeah. So I got just this asterisk, So I'm listed as number one there with the times from these races, and my total time is just like next to the Colorado Trail race. There's a little asterisk or a little star.
A tiny one. That to me, that asterisk just means you did more than everybody else.
Yeah, it's one way to look at it. I mean,
You
as I told you when we talked about it, I don't feel like a criminal. I don't feel like I don't feel like I did something bad. I mean, the only thing I would love that the rules would be clarified, and that don't hitchhike would make a rule, and that's about it. Like it's the rest is history.
Yeah. So ultimately, I mean, your time was a qualifying time, or it was official finish time for Colorado Trail, and so that adds or counts towards the Triple Crown as far as the powers that be manifested or whatever. But at the end of the day, I really feel like a lot of this comes down to the community and how people perceive your effort, and the feedback that I'm getting, the things that I'm reading online. I mean, no one is really disputing the fact that you had you are the Triple Crown winner, you are the new FKT holder, and I don't think anyone's really disputing and could dispute what you've accomplished this year in our sport. I mean, it's never been done before. No one has ever done this before. Like even to just do the Triple Crown was once considered. I mean, whenever Goldberg had the idea to do Triple Crown, I mean, it was this big idea, and it is a big idea. And the thought being, okay, you got to train for one, you got to recover from that, and then get ready for the next one, and then recover from that. And like the idea that the concept of that was so big, and you did that, and you did 7 other races and won a lot of them. Like it's just it's insane what you were able to do this year. So I don't think there's anyone who's questioning or taking anything away from what you did. How do you feel about it? Are you proud of yourself? Are you excited? Are you relieved that it's over?
I was like when I finished to Arizona, I was so relieved, man. Like I was really like I didn't thought that I had this pressure on myself, like just to finish. But when I finished, I was so light. Like I was so happy that all this, like, and in general, like because of this year, the whole long year, when I finished Arizona, I don't have a race now. Nothing to think about. Nothing, like no flights to book, no accommodation to sort out. Like nothing. I can chill. Like I don't need to do it. Like I can finally catch up on life, like and things like that I missed through this long year. I've spent almost 2.5 months in US, only in US this year. So
That's wild.
it's a long time, man. So it's like when you mention everything, when I get to hear it from someone else, it just sounds, I just want to laugh because it sounds stupid. Like it's just like how's this possible? But yeah, I got a message actually from Jay Petervary
Oh, nice.
congratulating me. So that was very like I got really lots of messages, and sorry those who I haven't yeah caught up with, like because yeah my socials were a bit overloaded and
Right.
still are, because I got back to life, and life is life, and life doesn't wait, so I have to prioritize some things, but in general, so it's crazy. It's been a massive year.
It has been a massive year. It sounds like you've been just going, 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 and you haven't even had a chance to even process it
Mm-mm.
fully yet. It'll probably take some time to let this all sit with you and work through your own emotions and feelings and perspectives about it, because I mean, yeah, you've just been going, 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 going. As soon as you finish one, you're having to figure out logistics and planning
Mm.
and training for the next one. So you really haven't had a chance to rest and to process it all, it seems like. Have
Not that
you
much.
we always hear about like post trip depression. You haven't had a
Mm.
chance to have post trip depression up until maybe like right now after the AZT, once it's all said and done. It sounds like you're mostly just feeling relieved that it's over. How is your adjustment back to, your regular life been without having that next thing to train for? We were just like wake up in the morning and you're like, well, what do I do now?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
how are you enjoying this stage of life, or are you
I
feeling
fi-
anxious to get back out there?
I find it I find it a bit weird that I have time now. Like, oh, it sounds that I have time, but like the time is still used to different things, and I have to sort different stuff. But like, it feels very weird not to be thinking about exactly what you said, like training, how do which intervals, how's the weather, what do I do today? Like, so all this is just like now pushed aside, and I got lots of questions like, yeah, so when now you've done all this, so what's left out there for you? So it's like, what you gonna do next? So and I can't start thinking about that, not just yet. Like I just want to probably the whole November gonna go into this like winding down mode, like when I'm just gonna like start to think of the things that I have actually done this year and how much of that and I think maybe I shouldn't think too much about because then I'm gonna get like the fuck how I'm gonna do better or like what's better and do I need to do better? Like there's a lot of those, like can start tickling in you and so I don't know. Like yeah.
It's kind of the same as your whole approach to like planning and how having a plan can like throw you off mentally. But it's true. Like I think that's a really honest reflection from what you've done is like, okay, how do I internalize this and how does this like fuck up my mentality moving forward? Like, do I need to continue to do fast or do well? If I don't do well, am I less of a person?
Mm,
Do I
mm,
feel worse about myself? And so you start to introduce those expectations that we were talking about the same way with planning, that like once you've had this much success, how does that impact your mentality, and how much does that matter to you? And at the end of the day, you're the only one that can decide, but I can see that being kind of a mental fuckery to have to work
mm,
through. And yeah, and I would assume try to like whenever you do line up again, push it to the side, and just go and ride your
mm.
damn bike the way that you always have and try to figure out a way to stay in that place.
Go out and ride your damn bike. That's the
Amen.
that's the words, amen. No, but exactly. So because I feel that some of those messages asking which races I'm gonna do next year are the sent from the headhunters, that's gonna try and hunt my head, like oh I try to be the best and
Yeah.
but this all shit the best, like I don't want to because there are many fast guys out there and I yeah, I don't know. Like so this Triple Crown stuff is different, but so I would just want that more of a fast guys or the guys that do the other races would come there and try to do this. I mean,
Right. Yeah,
it's
that's
yours now.
that's the interesting thing about it, because it's not only all the things that could go right or could go wrong during the Tour Divide, but it's also who has the means and the time availability to show up and do it. And so I think that's another honest and very humble reflection, is like there are a lot of fast people that are out there, and it would be interesting if we could get all of them to show up
Mm,
in the same year and do the same races, the same time, all line up and see where
yeah,
the dust settles. But that record by Jay Petervary has stood for 9 years. I mean, there's been
yeah,
9 years
exactly.
of people that have come and tried and have had the opportunity to do that,
Yeah.
and you're the one who did it. And so it is significant. It doesn't diminish the fact that there's other fast people that are out there too. But God damn it, right now you're the fucking man. So you're gonna have to figure out how to deal with that.
Oh man.
That's your next challenge is being the man and how how
Good
you
luck. Good
respond.
luck figuring out that, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have to worry
No,
about
but
it.
it's a luxury problem. I think this is the first world problem of all problems to have. This is the best one probably
That's
to
the best
have.
problem to have. Yeah, that is the best problem to have. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
All
but
right.
they say that to get the records is easier than to defend them, you know. So I don't know. I'll see
Yeah.
if that's true.
Yeah, we'll see. Again, Mike Hall's 8-year record, Jay Petervary's 9-year record. I mean, those stood for a long time, and the sport of bikepacking and bikepack racing is progressing so quickly. It will be
Mm.
interesting.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised, no offense to you, if the record doesn't last as long this time because there's just so many strong riders and it's just growing so fast, right?
But that's what's the best about it. You know, this is what we talked. I think we talked about that when I did got the FKT of the Tour Divide. That the records are there for this. Like they are there to be broken. I don't wish this record to stand forever. I would be disappointed, if anything, because then I would know that people would just. I hope nobody's gonna give up seeing those
Right.
numbers. I hope that people gonna be like encouraged to go there and do and race and fast and be fast and I mean with all the safety in mind.
Yes.
Please be careful. Don't do things like do stupid things carefully.
That's a good
But
asterisk.
yeah, but like I would love to see the fast guys trying to chase this and eventually maybe beat it. Like that would give me a reason. Hopefully, I'm not gonna be that too off to go and try to defend it, like
Yeah.
or take it back. You know, this is amazing. This is I think now the fun part starts. Now that this is when the guys who I hope gonna go there and try to steal it or to not
Yeah.
steal it, beat it. So, oh man, this is so, and I think that also brings honor to the record, right? I mean, if nobody tries and it just stays there, so it's the years go, but everybody knows that in those years they were kind of empty years. Nobody tried, but if there are really good attempts and someone comes close, you know, and things, so it kind of pushes the value of the record as well as it shows that it's not impossible. I mean, we know Lachlan what Lachlan did, so I know for sure as well that it's possible to be faster out on that trail. You just need, yeah, ride differently and plan it differently. But you it's for sure it's able.
Yeah, man, it's really interesting. I think what's going to happen if I have to predict, because if you look at the history of anything, whenever someone broke the marathon, I don't follow the marathon stuff super closely, but I think it was 3 hours. Like no one could beat 3 hours, I think is what it was. And then someone broke it, and then you see a slew of people come and break the 3 hour record, and now we're moving that needle forward. And sorry, my house is falling apart. But I think you touched on something really interesting, and I think that you have reawakened the FKT conversation and the idea that it's beatable, right? And so you've
Mm,
shown people like it. Oftentimes, we just need someone to like show us the way and show us it's possible, and then once our minds are open to that, we see a large contingent of people coming after and being like, oh, okay, I can do that too. But
mm,
it just takes one person to show that it's possible. And that's
exactly.
you.
And yeah, I feel like luckily it could have been Uber, right? Last year he came close and he could have pushed that record as well with some time. But so yeah, it's basically that last year we got to realize this when we were riding. We saw that it's we're not too far off, even with that storm, and that the porta body party in Great Basin. So that was still a way, like not completely out of reach. So that just proved us that Tour Divide is a different beast. That's what we learned, I think, both of us, that Tour Divide is not about the physical performance. Like you can train as much as you want, but if you just stuck in mud, all the power you have in your legs, do whatever with the fuck you want with it. Like you're not gonna move any faster. You're not gonna run the Tour Divide suddenly. You still are faster on a bike, and if it's muddy and wet, or if there's fire, somewhere, and you suddenly have to do a long detour, or if it's snow in the mountains and you're just walking hour, like hour after hour through it. What I had to do in Arizona, I could never expect that I'm gonna get into the snow on the northern rim, I
After
just
you come out of
walked,
the Grand Canyon?
exactly. I just walked through that ditch, as I like to call it. But I just got out of it. I crawled out of it. Like I had blisters in my feet, and the last thing that I could think about is walking more. And I had to walk more in the snow. I think I had to walk for like 10 miles more. It was just stupid. Like there, I was really low as well because I was like, this is the least what I would expect. Like, and on the profile, when you look at the elevation profile of the
It
race, you
shows
see
it's
that
going down.
yeah,
Yeah.
I thought this is finally gonna be the best, easiest miles of the whole fucking
Right.
race, and it
So the whole
wasn't.
ditch, you're just imagining this nice little easy descent to the finish line, essentially. There we go again with expectations and how they fuck you.
Expectations, and that's, dude, you're really good there. You pointing it out because exactly what was going in my head, that I'm gonna go like now I'll be barely pedaling and I'm just gonna cruise into the finish. That's what was in my head. And when the reality hit me, it hit me hard. And because I was walking through the night through the canyon and haven't slept much, and then I realized that this moving speed is so slow that I'm probably gonna be stuck out there for. I started eating snow. I started to stuff snow into my bladder because I would run out of water. Luckily, I had like my emergency trail mix in a bag. And yeah, so otherwise, like it was difficult. I met some hikers though. That was a good point. That like meeting dot watchers, so meeting hikers was a high point, There were like two girls from, I think they were from Canada, and so I would just meet them, talk to them, and it was so funny because I would ask them how long the snow lasts, and they would like say like 2 days. And I was like, how much do you walk per day? And they were like, we walk maybe like 10 miles. So it's like 20 miles of snow. Okay, that's not that much then. And because they would have like completely different perspectives about snow. Someone who has never seen snow would say like, "Oh, there's a lot snow. Like there's snow. Wow, there's so much." And the others who would see snow daily, like they would say, it's probably you'll have to push at some points, but the rest is rideable." So it,
Right.
it was so different, like that you would get the answers from them, and that would like some would again get you high. Oh, there's I'm almost done with this, and the others would like, no, this shit, it's gonna be worse. But eventually it started to go down the hill more than it was going up the hill, and eventually, because I think that's why also I was so freed after when I crossed the line, because all this nightmare, when you're just pushing. And also, I was still a bit in a game, I wanted to do it sub 8. So, and when you just see how slow it's going, and you thought, I like when I crawled out on the northern rim, so it was maybe 10 or 11 in the morning, and I thought like, So like by the evening, probably an hour or two after sunset, or maybe if everything goes right, I'll be there with the sunset. And then I finished at 2 a.m., like 10 to 2. It
Yeah.
was
Just having to kick that mental goalpost further and further down the line.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
that's tough. All right, I want to ask you. I want to ask you to give away your secret. I want to know what has contributed to you. I mean, you are undeniably one of the strongest endurance riders on the planet, maybe the best bike pack racer, at least by the results that we have in our sport right now. What is your secret? What is it that you do? What is it that you think that you do well that contributes to your success? I want you to give away your secrets right now. I want you to tell everybody. What are you doing?
I don't know. Like I don't know that pickles, maybe pickles.
Pickles? It's all the pickles?
No, pickles would be my nutrition tip. Like half and half. Drink half and half and eat pickles.
That was fun. Yeah, you're for anyone who doesn't know, on your AZT, you were comparing all the pickles on the course and trying
Yeah,
sampling all the pickles there were to offer.
I was loving that. But I got to know the fun fact.
What?
Do you know what the headquarters are on the other side of Trek headquarters?
No? Pickles?
One Holt instead. I was laughing hard when I got to know that. But yeah,
Dude, that's your other sponsor, so you need a truck and a pickle sponsor right there. I mean, it's you yeah. You working on
let's
that?
let's make this happen,
Let's
baby.
do it.
No, but so it's just I don't know. As I mentioned also a couple of times before, I just like feel incredibly lucky that like a very specific life skills that I've been practicing throughout my life suddenly make sense in this sport. Like, how come? What are the chances? Like that I've been working night shifts in like some chocolate factories. Then I was been working as a nurse. And then I've been working long shifts and I would be used to do long hours and not sleep at nights and then all this endurance and that I would be lucky that I'm not gluten free, like not gluten allergies and no, like I can eat anything
Yeah.
and I love food and all these things suddenly make sense, that I can like that I've been riding my bike both on snow and some trails and that I have crashed so many times learning to be fast in the trails that now I have the payback. Like now I'm getting the payback for all this shit that I've done before. So it's just like, how is this possible? So I'm in this incredibly lucky position to just now picking the fruits, like it took took 30, took 35 years to plant this trees and to plant this tree and I always thought that this tree is gonna be useless shit and not gonna give any fruits and now suddenly it gives some fruits. So
I
it's
love that
amazing.
analogy. I love that analogy. Let me ask you the question maybe in a different way. We often have the conversation about like mental versus physical. Like, are these races more mentally demanding? Are they more physically demanding? What percentage of each? So there's always that conversation. And one thing,
Mm,
like, I don't think anyone can't notice about you is you have a very like jolly, lighthearted, fun approach, it seems, to these races, both in conversations before, after, and if you follow your social media during the races. Well, you always post your updates like right after the race because you're busy racing during, but it doesn't matter how bad things are. You're getting cut up by cactuses. It's hot. It's snowing. It's whatever. And you're laughing and you're smiling the whole time. And honestly, like it reminds me of Lael. I remember whenever like I was first getting
mm,
introduced to Lael and like watching her, and I've had the chance to talk to her 4 times, and I've asked her the exact same question because she's always like having a good time and just like having
yeah.
fun out there. Like, does it ever get hard for you? And so I'm wondering, like, yeah, if you could just shed some light on like how much of your success is attributed to like your mental toughness or your mindset going into it, and how much of it is more physical.
I think I think way more is on the mental. Because like you can train a lot, right? You can be the strongest or like push the most, have the highest FTP, whatever that would mean in those races. But if a little thing that goes off from what you have planned or whatever you had in your mind, or you puncture and you just lose your mind about this, right? If a little thing can tip you to one or the other side, you're not going to be good there. I mean, you can, but probably then you need a perfect run. Every run has to be a perfect run. So I think those races are not for perfectionists because things not gonna go perfectly. Never. Like I can sadly sign to this that things gonna go wrong. It's just not when, like it not if, but when. So this approach that when you see things, or like you don't make problems out of small things, that helps a lot. Like and if you can make yourself laugh from stupid things, that's a big plus. Because it's a lot about that. Like just to be able to see some light in a shitty situation when it's dark around you. Like if you're really not able to see any light and you decide to scratch and to then it doesn't matter how strong you are, like how strong your legs are, right?
Right.
So so I think the mental side is the winning part as well. I just don't know how to train it.
Yeah, I mean, I had so the first time I ever met you, I think we mentioned this on one of the other episodes, but I was out on, covering the end of Tour Divide. Was that 2021 or 2022? 2022?
No, 23.
No,
That
your
was last
first
year.
year?
Yeah, the last year it
Oh
was
my
23.
gosh. Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
dude. I feel like a million things my life. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can't believe it was that
exactly.
recent,
It
dude.
feels
So
like it's forever,
it
right?
feels like it's been forever ago. My
Yeah,
God. Yeah, so
yeah, yeah, yeah.
holy shit, 20 that's blowing my mind actually, 2023. Wow. Anyway, yeah, I mean, so I'm just out on course like 100 and something miles from the finish, and I'm taking photographs. You don't know me, I don't know you, and you roll up, I'm taking photos, and you are literally laughing, and like um it seems like an honest laughter. Like you're honestly having fun.
Yeah,
I forgot to like your pedal had coming off the spindle. So
yeah.
you don't have a pedal that's attached to your spindle anymore. And you're just laughing about it. And you seem to be having the greatest time ever. And, and that seems to be your approach no matter how bad things get. You just have a smile on your face and you have a light-hearted approach and you laugh it off. And so I guess I'm curious, like, how much of that is forced? How much are you like forcing yourself to stay in that mindset and that space?
Mm.
Or how much are you that just is your natural default?
So, like, I have to really force myself out of the negative loops, like as I mentioned, you in Arizona towards the end when I got into the snow, and I was tired and I was really looking forward to those downhill miles, and then there wasn't any, and I still had to walk with my feet, which were fucked from walking through the canyon because I did that in cycling shoes and. I mean, so I was really like, and I would approach, the kind of little climb, but that would be covered in snow, so it's not rideable. You have to get off the bike, you have to push the bike up. At least you don't have to carry the bike. That was a good thing. So you could push the bike aside of you. And and I was like, I'm done. Like I'm gonna take the road. The first time I'm gonna see the road, I'm gonna just ride the road. Like I don't care about that. Like I was tired. I was really low on energy, on everything, and I was thinking about that. This is not safe. Like I was like, angry that John told me, because I would like, I met John Schilling, the race director. I met him on route at some point, and he's an amazing guy. He said straight away that, dude, the pace you are pushing now, I have to be at work on Thursday. I'm not gonna be able to be at the finish. You would be too fast. So he was a very like fair man, and I love that. And he was like, and I was the first thing I would ask was about the fire detour. Maybe they reopened the route, because I was, until that point, I was still focused about the race, and but that's not so. But I asked him about the snow as well. So first fire detour, and then how's the snow situation on the northern rim? Because I got the news that it snowed, but he had talked to some hikers that has probably passed or that have seen lots of snow. So they said like, oh, it's all good, no snow on the trail. And that's the information that I got, So that's why I kind of pushed through the Grand Canyon, walked out instead of kind of sleeping, because there were some pit toilets and I could have slept when I walked out of the canyon. But now I decided to start riding towards the finish, because I thought now it's downhill miles and everything is rideable, so why would I waste time? And that was exactly the opposite. And that's where I was blaming him in my head, for giving me false information now, like that. So, and because on the northern rim there's already winter, so there's grocery store is closed, or the convenience store that is there, it's closed for the winter off season. The spigot that is there is closed for the season. So there was no water to get when you kind of climb out. There's no food to find. So luckily I got to know about this convenience store that's gonna be closed. So through the Grand Canyon, I not only carried the bike and all the shit I had on me, but I also had to carry the food all the way to the finish, because I didn't want to stop at Jacob's Lake. Or I thought like, okay, in the worst case scenario, I'm gonna do that, but if I don't have to, I'm not gonna. So so I carried the food for like what I thought it's gonna take me. Like I think I or someone told me that I think Austin's time since he entered Grand Canyon and finished, I think, if I remember correctly, was about like 20 something hours. So I was like, okay, so I need food, like, so in from Southern Rim, I need about like food for a day. So that's why I was carrying, and because of my hike, I think was longer than hers. And then the riding conditions were also different, so that also took way longer time. So I was running low on food, low on sleep, low on energy, and everything seemed to be like shit. So that's where I had to get myself out of this stupid. And if I wouldn't have been able to, and it's another thing, it's dark around you, right? It got dark, and that's another thing in Arizona race, that the nights are long. The
Mm.
sun's going down at about 6 and doesn't get up before like 6 next morning. So you have about 12 hours of darkness all time. Like it's very pleasant. And when you're in the south and you suddenly can't start to ride your bike again because the temperatures drop. But in the north, those nights were long, and that would really really be difficult. So it's just the stupid jokes again, the dad jokes, that's what saved me up there. And then I would start to, yeah, think about that more than anything else. And I would still try to ride, and then the snow started, to give up eventually, and or like there would be less of it, and I could start riding my bike, and then the miles suddenly would start to go, and there would be some downhills, and yeah. So just all this, and I start to think about the food that I'm gonna get, or maybe a beer, because I knew that Ru's gonna be waiting for me at the finish. So yeah, there were things to look forward, and that's what kind of fixed the things.
How many miles is it from the North Rim to the finish?
It's from the North Rim, it's 79 or 80 or something like that.
Yeah. So 10% of the, so you had completed 90% of the course up to that. So I'm shocked to hear this. You were legitimately thinking about
Yeah,
DNFing and just hopping on
yeah,
the highway. That's real.
yeah,
You were about to
yeah.
throw away your triple crown.
You know when you are like, I don't know if you ever reached those lows, but where
Yeah.
you literally like, so maybe I was a bit like seeing things or thinking about things that they were not there. I would dramatize the the things I just talked about, right? Not
Hmm.
to dramatize the situation, but that's what I was doing, like, because of the tiredness and the energy and the sleep deprivation and everything. It gets you to almost, yeah, hallucinating and seeing the situation differently than it actually is. And that's where yeah, you need, I think that's my 3 cents. That's where the film crews and crews in general are the helping point, where you are that low, because then
Hmm.
they can actually guide you in this madness. Because nobody would have allowed me to scratch, and everybody would be like shaking me and like, what the fuck are you thinking about now? But if you are there on your own at night and you see this situation through the dark glasses, then you can do all sorts of stupid shit.
Yeah.
So that was another thing that got me thinking there and then.
So this is interesting. I mean, I always ask people this question. I think it's hard to articulate sometimes, but to be able to do any of these races, especially, I mean, it doesn't matter whether you take 10 days or 5 days or whatever, you have everybody's digging deep, right? And there's a book that I read in 2018 leading up to my first race called How Bad Do You Want It? And the author, I actually had him on the podcast if anyone wants to go back and listen to that. But I interviewed the author, and the whole premise of the book is that, for endurance sports, you have to have a very strong why. And if you don't
Mm,
have that why, if you don't have a strong reason, if you can't say, how bad do I want this, and then show up to do it,
mm.
you're not going to be able to perform well. Can you point to anything like, I mean, you're within 80 miles of the finish and things are going bad and you're at a really low point. Is there anything that you can point to of like, what was your why in that moment to not throw in the towel and to just keep pushing ahead? Because I think that's the thing that like is the separating factor. It's in those specific moments, and we're all going to hit those moments like differently for different reasons at different times. But this one thing right here seems to be like the deciding factor between success and failure. Like, what are you going to do and how are you going to respond when things get hard? And just because you're Justinas and just because you've had all these successes doesn't mean you're impervious to low points. And what are you going to do when things get hard?
Uh, yeah, but that's the only situation when you really, I mean, think about this. Like,
Exactly.
it's very easy to ask yourself that question, when you are feeling when you're in comfortable house, and then the answer you're gonna come up probably not gonna be enough in that situation where you actually gonna end up. But I don't know how to, like, probably it's just it might sound stupid, like I would be just thinking about all the sacrifices that I've done. Like, because this also has a price. Like, a lot of people maybe think that, oh, it's easy, you just ride your bike, have fun. Oh, fuck, no. It's just like organizing a race. It's the same. Like, you have to give a lot and leave behind you like social life. Forget it. Like, when I get people visiting me here in Tolga, the first question would be like, "What the fuck you do there?" You know, like there's nothing. So I would live a monk life. That's one way to put it. Like it's been life. It's been riding my bike and working. It's just like I would have as little distractions from everything I would do as possible. Like I would put everything into like maximum efficiency. Like I wouldn't want to waste more minutes in the traffic, like in the queues anywhere. So that's why this little place called Tolga became my home because I would spend not more than 10 minutes riding my bike to work and I wouldn't stand in the queue in the grocery store like at all. Like there would be smooth sailing through everything. Like I can start the intervals out of my door. Like I don't need to wait at the traffic lights. There's none here.
Wow.
But there are sacrifices, but I'm willing to. I mean, maybe, and that's also a good question that I got from someone that if I wouldn't have been winning, would I still do this, or would I still do that many? And an answer is I don't know. Like yes, I don't know. But because the price I pay or like the dividends I get for what I sacrifice, they are in my eyes bigger than what I sacrifice. So I keep doing this. And then when I was in that low point, so yeah, again, I would think like, what the fuck? So do you want to throw away everything? Like all the Tour Divide, all the Colorado stuff, everything what I just did and just leave it like that. So then I know that the price of regret is bigger. It's
Yeah.
gonna be like it would have haunted me for days. Then I probably if I would get on a highway and start riding and maybe would have passed out some point and slept a couple hours and would wake up and then I would I would crawl back to the trail and
Turn
just
around. Yeah.
finish. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But at that point, so
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Sacrifice, all the sacrifices that you made, both socially, personally, physically, financially, um, leading up to it, and then the fear of regret. Yeah, the
mm,
regret I could see looming large, and I like what you said at the very beginning. Like, and I think that's so wise. Is like the why, the reason that you come up with in your mind when you're sitting at home before you enter the race is probably not going to be the real thing because you're not gonna understand how low you're actually going to get,
mm,
and you're not going to know what is the thing that's going to propel you forward when that thing that you didn't expect to happen happens. So
mm,
it's all just talking out your ass until you're really in there. And that's why I kind of find this conversation interesting. It's okay when it really gets tough, what is the real thing that like keeps you going? Because I think quitting is like the easiest thing to do, right? I mean, it's what everybody wants to do for so many things, for so many reasons, for so many times during a race. Like you're just hoping that you'll fall and break a collarbone, or your bike will be in disrepair and you won't be able to finish. And you're like, oh, thank God, But
mm.
yeah, you
Yeah,
just got to
but
find a way to dig it out. Go ahead.
and that's another thing. Like if I would have like I mean sometimes you in this discomfort, right? And you think like you're in the middle of nowhere and you think like okay, if I scratch it's not a computer game. Kids, wake up. Like there's no escape button. Like if you're gonna scratch or tell someone that you scratched, nobody will come and pick you and do anything. Like I still was in the middle of nowhere. Like I still had to get to that fucking finish to end it. So
Yeah.
that's another thing to think about in those low moments. Like okay, I know that for some people those low moments come in when they are in a hotel and they have to leave the warm hotel and all this luxury behind them and get out, yeah, back into the rain or but when you are somewhere there's nothing around you, and you're not gonna be rescued by anything like straight away after you said that you're gonna scratch now. It doesn't help. It's not a magic world. We're not living in that world where something suddenly happens. You still have to get your ass back to to somewhere where you can get picked up.
That's one thing I really loved about the AZT, the time that I spent out on it, was how remote it felt. Like
Yeah.
it has the feeling of like real consequences, like everything that you do matters. Like that's what I kept internalizing, is like everything that I do matters. Every decision I make, do I
Mhm.
rest here? Do I get water? How hard do I push? I mean, everything, because you're so remote that
Mhm.
every decision has an impact on how well you do. And I personally love that. I loved the high
Mhm.
consequences and that feeling of
The
like
high the high risk game, right?
a high risk game. Yeah, it's real, man. There's no
Yeah,
one,
it's
even if someone, if you're gonna hit a fucking button, it doesn't matter. It's gonna be a
Mhm.
while before someone's gonna come and get
Mhm.
you. And I like that personally.
Yeah. No, but that's for sure. I mean, all these snakes, right? That's another thing. You're like at the in South. I saw people riding over some rattlesnakes and stuff. I mean, there is plenty of things that can kill you, like they can kill you, and there's another amount of things that you can kill yourself on. Like,
Right.
like it's like the boat, like you're this tiny little line, like you're walking, you're balancing, and you can the things can go wrong, spectacularly wrong, very fast. Like I got out of water. Luckily, it was night, and but I was so thirsty that I could smell water. And I just found a pipe in the bushes. Like it's in one of those stories that I have, yeah, highlighted in my Instagram account. So I found a pipe in the middle. Like the water tasted metal, heavy metal. So I was rocking, and after drinking that water, so I became a rock
Had a little
star,
extra something in
heavy,
there.
heavy metal rock star. So no,
I
but I
wanted to
was
ask you about that. Yeah, and I want to just this is okay. This is just a funny sidetrack. So like you posted all your stories on Instagram, and people can go back and watch those. But like I screenshotted. You know, how you can like screen not. I screen recorded all your
mm,
stories. So like I went through and like I let all your stories played out, and I have like this 10-minute file on my phone from
right.
all your stories. And I was like, I had this
Wow,
idea. I was like, oh, I'm going to make this available to my patrons so they can just like watch the
wow.
whole thing. And then whenever you got done with your stories, you said, oh, by the way, I'm going to save all this stuff to my profile so you don't have to save it. I'm like,
What the fuck I just did?
oh no, it was just I laughed my ass off because I had spent like so much time trying to make sure that like I had this good file, and then you get to the end and you're like, and it's on my profile so you can go watch it anytime you want. But I just want the
Um,
point of me bringing that up is for anyone who hasn't, y'all should go back and watch Justinas's highlights from the whole Triple Crown. They're great, and I think they
mm,
give you a really good insight into like your approach to cycling and how you deal with problems, the problems that come up, the different scenarios. One of them was about this moment you're talking about right now where you were so thirsty that you could smell water. And I'm curious, like, where the water was, because in the stories, it looks like you're literally crawling on your hands and knees through cactuses and shrubbery and bushwhacking your way to find a water source like a freaking bloodhound or something.
it was it's between the sunflower. I think it's called sunflower. It's like a camp or something. You leave you leave outskirts of Phoenix, right? I mean, I should be better at this. But you leave outskirts of Phoenix, then you climb to those high mountains. You're just climbing, you cross the desert first, then you start climbing those high mountains on a road. That's one of the dirt roads that you allow to stay on because I think the trail goes through the wilderness that cyclists are not allowed. So, but when you reach the top of the climb, then you join the trail, and then trail drops down to a place which is called Sunflower. I could like it was already dark, so I couldn't see anything. I expected that there's gonna be a spigot, or like I somehow thought that there's gonna be something, but there wasn't, and I was already empty. And from there, I had to get to the Payson, and that's another like I don't know, it maybe 60, 70 miles. It's not much in normal
Yeah.
standards, but in AZT standards, that's 8 hours at least, 8, 9 hours. Oh wow! So I was really yeah. So I got and there's this canyon that you kind of pass through, and at the end of the canyon you have to climb out of it, and then you get on the ridge. Yeah, and then you descend. But like in that canyon, at some point, I mean, so as I said, like it's some strange things happen with the body when you are in a situation where as you said, like there's a high risk, right? I mean, I haven't got any water. I'm running out of water. Right, it's night, so I probably could have, like, I would have made huge damage, or would have left a huge dent in my physical form, reaching Payson dehydrated, and probably would have need a long recovery there in order to continue if I wouldn't have found that pipe. But just because you are in this alert mode with your body that you're thirsty and you're looking for water. So as I said, like it felt like I could really smell it. And there was this one section where I just felt, that where the water is running, you get this colder area, or the area is like the air is more humid. And you just like I literally could smell
You
that there's
feel it,
water.
smell it. Yeah.
So I just stopped and listened, and then I heard like this, the water, some running somewhere in this, and I just crawled into this bush and found the fucking pipe, and there was dripping some. That is luck. That is not just luck, but that's pure happiness. Like I've been so happy there. Oh
And it
my God.
also, one thing that I think is really interesting about endurance sports and bike pack racing is like you get an opportunity, I feel like, to tap into what it was once to be a primal human, to
Mhm.
like tap into those senses that
Mhm.
we never get an opportunity to experience because we live in a world of luxury from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to bed at night. And then all while we're sleeping, we're in an air
Mhm.
conditioned bed,
Mhm.
it's right. So like,
Mhm.
but we get these opportunities to be like, oh, I didn't know that I could smell water. I didn't know that I could sniff it out and crawl on my hands and knees to go find it, and then have that very human experience of being dehydrated and then having water when you need it
Mhm.
the most. I always think about like just the primal man and how like all of these kind of skill sets and stuff are like in our DNA, and we just don't get an
Mhm.
opportunity to like find out
Yeah.
about it very often.
We have those survival skills, that's for sure, man. That's the
Hmm.
instincts, I think, and yeah, they show up. They show up when you are in this shitty situation. They show up.
All right, how hard is the AZT? I, just to preface the question, I guess, I host a podcast. I've talked to a lot of people about the AZT. Before I attempted it, I watched a ton of YouTube videos. I read every article there was. And it doesn't matter how much I read or how many people I talked to or whatever, nothing came close to preparing me personally for what I was about to tackle. My expectation versus reality was way off. And I'm
Mm.
curious to get your assessment. Like, how was a trail versus your expectation of what you were signing up for?
Day and night.
Just the look. I wish if any, this will be a YouTube video. Y'all can watch it, but y'all should have seen the look on his face when I asked him that question. Deer in
But
headlights.
oh my God, it wasn't like so. I stayed with Lel, right? So she would help me tell me stuff. I have this good friend Miron. He
Yeah,
also would give me and tell me because he raced it last year. So I had lots of not only, but I also watched those YouTube videos, right? That's why I noticed that you were in one of them and you were doing too. So so. I would have I would have a thing like that I would know, kinda like, but I would love to leave this adventure, like everywhere. I don't want to know the full picture because that's gonna ruin the experience, or like the experience is how I see it. So I wanted this adventure, but I could never imagine that adventure could end that badly. Like if something would have gone wrong, it could have, as you said, like it's Arizona Trail, as I see it, is a very high risk game, actually. It is like the remoteness, the heat, the coldness, like it has everything. It has everything you can think about. And those there are those sky islands. They call them sky islands, right? In Arizona. And that's the high mountains. Like there is Mount Lemon, there's some other high peaks. And in those high peaks, the sky islands, there's different biodiversity that lives there. So there's bears in Arizona, but they are just they live up high in those mountains. They usually don't go low. So it's you who gets to the bears, not the bears to you. So but it's just like it's crazy how diverse that one state is because of all the altitude that you get through. So the risk there is huge, is massive. Like you missed water somewhere just by chance, just because you work. Maybe you thought that you have enough, but you didn't. And then you all like, I hate this, but yeah. So I love that John exactly said that. I mean, there might be those water caches, they called water caches,
Yeah,
right, for the
caches. Yeah.
hikers. Yeah, for the hikers, but don't use them. Like, please leave them, because we on the bikes, we move way faster. We are actually able to get from one reliable water source to another with like with some water, like with the water you have. But I can only imagine those hikers reaching the end, and when they walk in, like, so yeah, it's just like I really see this trail as one of the most dangerous trails of what I've done. Is like, yes, uh, so yeah, it's that the most.
What was the most challenging or surprising aspect of the trail to you? What surprised you the most? I know what surprised me, but I'm curious.
So I still must say the hike through the canyon. Like I knew that that was. I mean, you can't prepare for that. Like I know that like Uber was in amazing shape when it comes to like, because he was, yeah, so he had Triple Crown already on his head since the start of the year. And I know that he's been specifically training, walking with like water in his backpack up and down the mountains. But I didn't. I didn't know about. I haven't thought about that. I'm gonna do the Triple Crown. So walking with the water, it didn't come to my mind. So I
Yeah, I mean
massively
that's
un.
an important an important note to make, that I actually meant to mention earlier in the episode, and we talked about on the last episode. But when you started the year this year, you didn't have a plan. Again, according to the Justinas playbook, you didn't have a plan. You were not planning on doing the Triple Crown. I think you had a good Tour Divide, and you were like, okay, I guess let's
Mhm.
see what I can do. And so that's what you're speaking to right there, is like
Yeah,
you weren't training specifically for the AZT because you weren't planning on necessarily doing the AZT until you did.
neither Colorado Trail. I
Or
got
call
the
yeah.
I got the Colorado Trail by 2 weeks before the race. I got it through during the bright midnight, and during the bright midnight, I couldn't ride on it, so I started training for like on a bike that I got for Colorado, just like, yeah, post bright midnight. So that's when I started to watch the videos of what's Colorado is, what Colorado, and the only thing that I knew is just like I have to take one race at a time. Like I couldn't start hiking with my bike on my back before I was done with Colorado because that wouldn't make sense. I don't know if I'm gonna make through Colorado, so that I would
Right.
there would be a point going to Arizona. So all this, and yeah, so when I go to Grand Canyon, I've seen pictures of it, and I've seen people telling how difficult it is, but you also always have that's them, that's them saying this. Maybe like not that I'm better or anything, but like you would always think that m- maybe I'm not gonna be that, like I'm gonna I'm gonna come much better prepared. So I'm gonna ride this bike. That dude or girl had this on that on their bike, but I'm gonna have this, so that's gonna make me all this bullshit, that you think that you somehow it's somehow gonna get easier for you. Somehow that the canyon's gonna be shorter and closer to the rims. But it's not like you get there and you start walking and then you realize that and when you get to the bottom, oh, then you know that you're fucked because you have to crawl out.
Let For preface to this, how did you attach your bike to your back? What mechanism did you use, and how well did that perform?
So I haven't done a single hike with it before I went to Arizona.
No way. Oh, but you did it before before the actual
Yeah,
race. Okay, okay,
yes.
okay. So you
Yeah.
tried it a little before the Grand Canyon.
Yes. So again, because I didn't want to, because I heard that those conversions, that you have to make on your backpack, they need to be real. I mean, you have to reinforce your straps and there has to be at least four straps that you could hang your bike on, blah blah blah. And I didn't have any of those backpacks laying around there. And when I asked Lel, because Lel did that race, so she said like, "Oh, no problem, you can get my backpack. You just get there and you'll get to try it." So I got there and I tried that backpack. I mean, that's smaller size than maybe what I should have, but it still felt great. And we went on one like a test trip, where we hiked like 6 miles part of actually we did the part of on Mount Lemon, there's this
The
Mount Lemon
push.
push. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so instead of pushing the bike, I would carry it on my back. So there was both sections where I walked up and where I walked down. So I kind
And
of
that
got
also
to,
gives you a preview of Mount Lemon, the push on Mount Lemon.
Mhm.
So you're killing two
Yeah,
birds with one stone. That's
yeah,
smart.
yeah. That was very cool. And so mastermind behind that is Rue because she manages to plan everything. So
Uh,
I mean, yeah, I was very lucky there. But so yeah, I got to try it for 6 miles before I did the actual hike. And that was the backpack that I've sent myself ahead because that's allowed in that race that you can send a package to yourself to Sion. I think it's called to Sion or yeah, to the southern rim.
yeah, it's close to Tucson, but it has a Y in there.
Yeah, to
But I don't, yeah,
Sion.
it's something like Tucson, something like that, how it's pronounced.
It's one of those native names of the town, right? Like in Arizona, there's quite a few, and the trail is called Kebab Trail, right? So it's also
Yeah.
not exactly American.
So for most people are not going to hike their bike through the Grand Canyon. What is that like? Why? Yeah. What is it like? I've never done it. I'm super
Mhm.
curious, like how it actually is.
Where to begin? So first, like, okay, I think I would need to find a converter. So, because I'm interested in what it does weigh in. Oh, it's about like 50 pounds, I think. So it's the bike weighs about 20, yeah, about 20 kilos with a
20
backpack.
kilos. All right. So
Yeah.
that's 64 pounds. Oh, wait. No, no, no. Sorry. I typed in 29 on accident. 44
Yeah.
pounds.
Yeah. So that's what you're carrying on your back. And because you need to have the water, so that's so wait, it's gonna be more. It's gonna be about 50 pounds because you have to have water at least going down because there's not so much water to get going down. You have to have the food. In my case, I had until the finish, so that was I think about a kilo of trail mix and different bars and stuff. Then you have all your shit, and then there's the bike, and the backpack, and yeah. Then the depth of Grand Canyon. So you have to walk, yeah, 21 miles, I think it is the length of it. But the drop from Southern Rim to the bottom, I think it's about 9,000, no, not 9,000 feet, but
Do you know the
six.
meters? I'll do the conversion.
I think it's 1.8 kilometers, so it's like 1,800 meters.
So 6,000 feet.
Mm, that's what you drop down. And that drop down happens in a space of 10 kilometers.
Yeah. So like 6 miles.
Hmm. And that's mostly steps. So you do single leg squats
Uh,
with the 50 kilos on your back for 10 kilometers for like 6 miles. That's how it feels walking down. And yeah, and your quads are burning, and that's where my and that's where my oh, wait, I'm just want to like, can you double check, can you fact check me about the depth of the Grand Canyon? I don't, maybe it's, no, it can't be 1.5 kilometers. It's I think it's just like 800 meters maybe.
how deep is the Grand Canyon?
From Southern Rim, for example.
It says from 4,000 to 6,000 feet, depending on what
Okay.
part you're doing it. So deepest point from the rim to the river. Yeah, it says from the rim to the river is 6,000 feet,
Mm.
1,829 meters.
Yeah, so that's correct. Then I was correct. I didn't. Yeah. So, but that's the shit part. Like, and then when you get down to the bottom, then you're walking alongside the. So, and the northern rim is higher than the southern rim by like 200 meters. So you have to plus like 600 feet. So. And there, so you just did the squats, like one single leg squats going down, and now you're doing the step ups,
Yeah.
going the up, going up on the northern rim. And another thing, which was my kind of mistake, so I packed my bike high up, like my rear wheel was way above my head.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, there was no problem on the southern rim because it's very like open. The trail is wide and I didn't had any problems. But crawling out on the northern side, which is way more, they have has a lot more vegetation, and the trail has been rebuilt and built into the wall or scraped out of the wall. So I had to walk like with my, yeah, like bended just so that the
Hunched
bike
over.
wouldn't, yeah. Oh my God, that was like, and it's towards the very end, right? I would just look at the top, and I remember that moment when I was sitting on the rock, looking at like into where I thought the top's gonna be, and then I would see lights of the hikers going into it, like early hikers, early birds with the headlamps. And then my whole world almost crashed there too, because where I thought the top is, it wasn't. I was far, far from the top because I could see it in the distance, just like at that moment I had to bring the second Big Mac that I carried into the ground. Then I ate it, and I, yeah, I had to. I had to have this moral booster there because otherwise it would have been a long night or like long morning.
Yeah, one of my favorite. You're so funny on the freaking on your stories. Like you're just telling jokes all the time. One of them that you told on the Grand Canyon in your stories that y'all can go back and watch was like you're like, oh, if you slip and fall, good news is it's a long ways down, so you might have a chance to fly or learn to fly. Bad news
Yes.
is most people don't learn how to fly. and, and then there's another one you were like talking to your bike and you were like, hey bike, how you doing? You need any water? You need any food? You know, is there anything I can do for you? And you're just having
But
like, go ahead.
But this is exactly what I told you, man. This is what keeps me sane, and
Yeah.
and because I can make these stupid conversations with my bike and have these. Oh yeah, if you would fall here, you probably there's plenty of time to learn to fly, and like it's stupid. It's dad jokes, like it's completely dad joke territory. I find them funny, and then I laugh there, and I just have a
Yeah.
good time. Then I forget about the pain and the squats that I've just done, and
I mean, you have to laugh at the absurdity of, I mean, riding your
mm,
bike across a whole state and then putting your bike on your back and hiking through a glorified ditch. I mean, it is you were quoted in bikepacking.com. The first thing that you said when you finished was like, this is so stupid or something along those lines, or this is stupid.
yeah,
And it is, it's stupid. And you have to be
yeah.
able to laugh at the absurdity of it. And I think it maybe it like takes the pressure down a little bit whenever you can just like laugh at how stupid it is and takes the seriousness out of it a little bit.
Because otherwise the pressure would be huge. Like you would be constantly thinking that, oh my God, this is so hard, so heavy, so ah. No, but when you when you just realize how stupid everything is, and that you're doing it yourself, and that this is your holiday.
Who are you? Who are you
Like,
as a
yeah,
person?
I don't know.
What was the finish line like? Was there a big welcoming party?
Yeah, by two ladies that wait for me. So happy man, huh?
Happy
Nah,
man.
it was good. Like it was so Rue was there and she has prepped a meal and there was beer and there was Esther from bikepacking.com. So she was taking pictures and also yeah, writing and recording my stupid words, what I would say. Um so yeah, that was us three, middle of the night, all a bit past midnight, hang out around there in a parking place, camping place, because that race is nuts on another level. So there's so many things that are so stupid about the Arizona Trail, but you start in the middle of nowhere, like Monument 103, Mexican border. What the fuck? There's not like I don't know. Like most of the people camped the night before, just
Hmm.
because there's no other way to get there. Like
I
other
think yeah,
either.
we camped in like I think we didn't camp, but we stayed in like it's I think 3 hours from Tucson,
Mhm.
something like that
Mhm.
to get there.
Yeah,
No, we stayed somewhere else. But anyway, you
yeah.
the closest place to sleep in a hotel is several hours away from the start of the
Mm,
AZT, and it
mm.
starts at
It is.
4 a.m. So you
And
have
it's that
to
now. Now, no, no, no. That's Colorado. That starts at
Colorado
4.
Trail
They used to start at 7, but now they pushed 1 hour. Now we start at 6 in the morning.
at 6.
It's and then you finished and at least at least in Tour Divide, right? So you start in civilization, which is Banff, right? So everything is there. So then you finish in the middle of nowhere, which is the Mexican border. Like yeah, so I have finished one race in Mexican border. Now I started the next race in the Mexican border. So it's like I've checked this, but I've never crossed the Mexican border. So maybe the next thing should be crossing the.
There you go. Fastest known
But
time from Arizona down to Argentina. Or not Arizona. I mean
no, Alaska.
Alaska down to
Yeah,
Argentina. Yeah.
right. I've heard that there is one. There's the Pan American Highway or so. Yeah. Anyway, but that might be one for one day. Um, but and Colorado Trail. So again, Denver and Durango, I think both ends like in Durango. So you almost finish in the town. That like the trailhead is really close to the city center. In Denver is maybe a bit further away, but you still have some petrol station. But anyway, so and in Arizona, so you start in the middle of nowhere and then you finish in the middle of nowhere. The closest town, or like the town where we finally got some, not finally, but we got some food. Was it 1.5 hour drive? So it's if you would ride, I know a lot of riders finish and then they cycle all the way to Las Vegas to fly back home
It's
somewhere.
wild.
It's just wild. And that campground is just like pit toilets, right? So there's no fucking, you just been out there in the wild for so long. Yeah, because, yeah, at least 8 days, seven, like 9 days, 10 days. And then you expect some sort of like comfort right after you just finish it. And if I wouldn't have been lucky and wouldn't have been greeted by those two wonderful women, I would have been there sitting in my bivvy in the pit toilet, probably eating my rest of the trail mix, and then the next day probably end up riding again 100 miles to reach the next town or something. It's just like crazy how remote and everything. That race is really nuts. Like it's
Really nuts. Yeah. I think that's the best way to put it. It's really nuts. It's a hiking trail that they let us ride our bikes on. And I don't think that can be overstated. Like it is a hiking trail. It's not meant for bikes in any shape. And it's in a rugged, yeah. I mean, it's everything that you said. It's all, it's changing weather, it's changing elevation, different ecosystems. There's everything wants to kill you, stab you, punch you, knock you down, and it's a beast, man. It's
it's
nuts.
a it's a high risk game, huh?
It's a high
Arizona
risk
Trail is a
game.
high risk
Yeah, and
game.
it took me out, man. I DNF the game, but I want to go
How
finish the
long
three.
did
Huh?
how far did you go?
To Tucson. So it was
To some
165 miles. So
mm,
I was attempting the 300, and
mm.
yeah, my only regret is that I didn't get to see the rest of the trail because I absolutely loved it. It was mind-blowingly beautiful. It was so hard. I really loved like being really self-reliant where I felt like the decisions I made mattered greatly, and I was in a situation like there's so many places you go, at least I go ride in America, where it's like I feel like I could easily get to resources. I could easily call someone and come get me. Like there's I always feels like there's an out, but on AZT I knew I didn't have that, and I really relished that experience because I don't get it very often. And it was just so beautiful. I just wanted to see the whole freaking thing, man. I just wanted to see it all. So that's my only regret, but I had a great time.
Yeah, but dude, if you decide one day, I would strongly suggest you going there. I mean, it's so wild, it's so beautiful, it's so crazy. Yeah, you can start from Tucson. Now you've done the first part, so now you
Yeah.
can just do the rest.
I've thought about
And
doing it like the through hikers that'll just pick up where they like left off. And I might do
yeah,
that just because I don't have
yeah,
as much time and I'm also not racing it. I just want to
yeah,
experience it. So
yeah.
yeah.
Why
I haven't
not? So
decided what
I
I
would.
am going to go back. I haven't
Oops.
decided if I'll start from the start or Tucson, but either way,
Mhm.
it'll be good and I'll be happy to be out there.
Yeah, because the parts that awaits you there, they are
Worth it.
so great.
I
Yeah.
can't wait.
Wow.
You're getting
Wow.
me excited.
Yeah, it's just like I would yeah, I loved it a lot and I would strongly suggest it, but one thing, yeah, just please do stupid things carefully, people, because
Yeah.
that trail is a high risk trail, yeah, it's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's good that we're pointing that out to people because I don't think it can be overstated how high risk, high reward well, yeah, there's a high risk and a high reward. There's a payoff for
Mm,
sure for the
mm,
Arizona Trail, but you have to really have a high degree of competency, training, preparation, maybe even some planning, maybe even some
Mm.
planning.
Yeah, it helps. Like I remember, like the first time I got a bit dry was quite early in the race. So ever since, I decided that I'm not gonna do this mistake again. And I like it eventually happened again, but but I was like, I'm gonna carry. Doesn't matter if I'm gonna be heavy, but I'm gonna carry enough food. I'm gonna have always extra calories, like and another is like 750-gram bag of trail mix just in my rear rack, tucked under together with like sleeping equipment. Just it's gonna sit there, and that's gonna be an emergency food if I would get there. Like, because yeah, I just didn't want to risk.
Yeah. Very difficult, very challenging, high risk, but definitely worth it. One of the most
Mm,
beautiful parts of the world, it's got to be. It's just
yeah,
absolutely incredible. Well, dude, I got to get to wrapping this up and go pick up my kids from school, and I'm going to let you go to bed. But let's just do like some quick rapid fire questions to
right.
close it out. So, out of the Triple Crown, which was your favorite? Which was your favorite race out of the three?
Probably Colorado,
Okay. Which one was the most challenging?
Arizona,
Which one are you the most proud of?
through the wire.
Nice. You got them all in there.
Yeah,
You had one for
exactly.
all three. Perfect. Perfect.
It's almost like scripted. What the fuck?
I know, dude, we didn't plan that. We didn't plan that. That worked. But you must be reading my notes. You're cheating. Uh, all right. What's next? So there's been some hints of Iditarod Trail. You've recently acquired a fat bike. And that's Iditarod Trail is kind of like the unofficial fourth prong of the bikepacking triple crown or the quad crown or whatever. It's the next it's the next thing, right? If we're talking about testing yourself in a variety of different terrains, conditions, distances, environments, the Iditarod Trail is the next test.
Exactly.
So are you gonna do it? Are you thinking about it? Where are you
Mm.
at with that right now?
Yeah, so I was this, again, I'm not planning again. I'm not planning good enough ahead, right? So registration has already been closed, so I have sent a couple of emails to the organizers, but haven't heard back yet. So yeah, I really hope that I'm gonna get a spot to do at least 350. I would love to do 1000 straight away, but that's probably not gonna happen. But at least to get a place in 350 would be amazing. And as you just said, like this is the next. Yeah, so I've been doing some fat like because where I live, so fat bike is the thing. Like if I wouldn't have a fat bike, half of the winter, like oh, I would have spent lots of hours inside. So fat bike has really saved me, like gave me mm, another dimension in training as well. But just as you said, like it's different. It's so different from all the other races because there's this other thing called snow, and there's this other thing called cold. And those things also you can't play. Like I think you get away with the heat more easily than you can get away from the cold. I mean, I think more people lose different parts of their bodies in the cold than they do in the heat.
And you don't even know it either is the scary part. You just take off your feet and your feet are
Very
black
true.
and you're like, oh
Yeah.
fuck, so
Fuck.
it's yeah.
Mm.
Are you scared to do the Iditarod Trail? Like to me, the Iditarod Trail is the like just because I don't want to fuck with the cold, that degree of cold. Like no, thank you, no gracias. I'm not interested. Uh, so it looms large and scary and big in my mind. What's your
Mm.
perception of the Iditarod Trail? Are you scared of that one at all?
I have to treat it with a huge respect. No, that I can't treat that race with the same altitude that I've been doing because the adventure there I mean, there you can't, there you have to be prepared because the adventure might end. If you go with a very adventurous approach, it can end badly.
Yeah, I think you're going to get adventure on that one, no matter how much planning you do. So I think your hope for adventure will be,
Yeah,
you're still going to
fulfilled.
have that experience. When
Yeah,
is
probably. No,
Iditarod
that
Trail? It's the beginning of the year,
it is February, I think. Some
February.
point in February. Yeah, I think so,
All
right?
right. When do you find out if you get accepted or not? Do you know?
I mean, I don't know yet, but I have a plan that if I'm not gonna get accepted, so I'm still gonna go there, and I'm a criminal anyways.
You have a reputation. You might
Nah,
as well live up to it.
no, but I can tour it, right? I can start together. They can start the race. I can start 2 hours behind and do the yeah individual time
ITT.
trial.
You
Yeah,
ITT it.
exactly. So
Just a little bit
yeah.
behind. Yeah. Just to be clear, the reason why they wouldn't accept you is I would assume they have a high threshold for safety reasons of who they allow to
Mm,
do the race based on your experience.
mm,
Obviously, you're a very experienced, accomplished ultra racer, but the concern might be your lack of
mm.
experience specifically in those conditions. Is that
Yeah, yeah.
right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't got any reply. Like, I mean, just the registration is closed. Probably they have filled the slots, and there's a waiting list, and I haven't like I don't want to neither put any pressure on them. Like maybe it was stupid of me just mentioning this, but like yeah, I would love to do the Iditarod, and I've applied, but I was late. The registration was closed, so if good things happen, so I'm gonna get a slot. If not, I'm gonna tour it.
All right. Awesome. All right, buddy. Well, good luck to you. I hope you get an official spot, and so you can expunge your record of being a criminal, and you can come back to the bright side instead of the dark side. Oh, like bright
Yeah,
midnight, you know?
right,
Oh, maybe
exactly.
that's like you. You live in the in between the bright midnight when it's dark and light. That's where you live, man. You're like in this gray area.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm dividing
You're
in
just making
between.
your own path, man. You're adventurous, man. You're just having an adventure. Life is an adventure, you know? Like
Life's
have fun, enjoy it. You know, life is
right,
short.
and ride your goddamn bike.
Ride your goddamn bike. Amen. Well, Justinas, congratulations, man. I'm so happy for you. I don't think it could have happened to a cooler, nicer, better representative of our sport. I think you're just all the good things about what this sport offers people, and I think you showcase that really well. And it's an absolute honor to have you come on the podcast and share with me and my audience, man. It's always a pleasure. I appreciate you so much.
I was having fun, and the hours just flew by. I was having fun. So
Yeah.
it's like riding a bike. It's fun.
It's fun, man. Well, I enjoy it. Get some sleep, and we'll chat again. Go do something else on your bike, and then we'll do another one of these. Okay.
Always ready. Always. Oh, yeah. I'll keep you busy, man. I'll do that.
All right. Keep me busy. Yeah. Keep me in business. I need something to do over here.
Right. But
All
it's
right,
been a
buddy.
pleasure.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
night. We'll talk to you.